Hey everyone, it's Ken Puls and the Data Monkey back here again for another video. And in this video, I'm going to show you something that actually came up in one of the self-service Business Intelligence Academy Ask Ken Anything sessions. The specific question here was, hey Ken, I'm trying to do something and the behavior is not working the way that I really expected it to work. Is this a bug or a feature? Well, short answer is it's actually a feature, but longer term here is, well, how do we make the feature work the way that we want? So what is this specific feature? Well, what the user is trying to do is they're trying to bring data into Excel, and they actually want to have another column added to the table that's generated by Power Query so they can start tracking notes related to the individual line items. The problem is when they refresh their data, what's happening is that their notes are getting shifted so they're not on the right lines anymore. So the question was, hey, is this even possible to fix? And the answer, of course, is yes, as long as you do it the right way. So what I'm going to show you now is both the problem and my solution to it. So here we go. We've got a nice little table of data that we have over here. Again, it's only in the Excel worksheet for convenience purposes, but it could be anywhere. The important part is we've got a Power Query that connects to it. So I'm just going to go and show you what that Power Query looks like right now. It's very simple. We're just setting some data types, and I have applied a specific sort to it. This might look weird, but I'm actually sorting by item first and then by date. And the reason for this is because my margins as a percent of revenue here are supposed to be relatively consistent across these columns. And we can see that these two here are definitely not. Something's going wrong here. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go and right click, and we're going to reference this. I'm going to go and land this to a table. I'm going to call this notes. We're going to say close and load to. Now, this is really, really important if you're going to set this stuff up. If the intention is that you want this to go to the data model, it is important that we both load this to the table and to the data model. We want to make this choice up front. Why? Well, because we need it in the worksheet to be able to add our notes. We also need it in the data model if we're going to be using it in that particular case. The other thing that's really important about this, and I mean, I'll certainly say for myself, I go through and I test all this stuff. I'm just using regular Excel and I'm like, hey, let's just change the table to go to the data model. Well, when you do that, it actually deletes the old table, then creates the new one, and that can actually cause you some errors. So you want to think about how you want to use this ultimately and set it up right the first time. It's just a good little pro tip along the way here. So we're going to add this to a table in the worksheet. I'm going to put it on an existing worksheet right here in G4. I'm also going to add this to the data model. And now when we go and say, okay, it'll land this into what I call a compound table. So it's showing up in both places. Now let's do a little formatting in the Excel side here. We're going to go grab our amount column. We'll go to make that an accounting format. We'll drop off a couple of decimals. We go grab my percentage column and set that up as percentage. And there we go. And now let me just add another column for note. So here we go. Let's go and open this up. And now I'm going to look at this one right here. And I'm just going to put a little note in here. Coding error in February, adjust in March. Good. We now have a nice little explanation on our data as to what should be happening. And here's the cool thing. If we right click, we can refresh it, and you can see that the data really hasn't changed. So there's no ordering issue that's going on here. We still have our February transaction with the February note to adjust it in March. But now let's see what happens when we go and we add our March data. So Control X, Control V, it's now in the table. So let's go right click and refresh. And now, our coding error in February adjusting March is now on the January line. So this is not ideal. This is not what we want to see happening at all. This is now shifting, and we want to keep these in the right place. So reality is this is a feature. It just may not be one the way you want to see it, but I'm going to show you right now how to actually change this to make it work so that these notes always stay with the correct line items. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm just going to press Control Z a couple times here, and we're going to undo our data, get it out of the table for a second. Okay, now here's how this is going to work. This right now is an output table. We're pulling from a data source and we're landing it into Excel. that table is also going into the data model. But here's the deal. What I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to go and right click on my output table, and I'm going to get data from table or range, and I'm going to bring this table into Power Query. Okay, so we're going from raw data to notes. Notes is landing in the worksheet. We're now using notes as a data source. And I'm just going to rename this one here. I'm just going to call this one history. And I'm going to make a modification here to the date column and replace that. That looks okay, cool. And maybe we'll just change this one out to percentage. So there we go. And, I should probably make my amount into a currency as well, because this is actually a currency-based setup here. So there we go. We don't want to lose any decimal parts along the way. Now, one of the big things you'll notice is different here. My notes table doesn't have a notes column. I also notice that I've got whole numbers here. So I'm just going to go and fix those and make this consistent as well. That one's going to be a currency. Just check my raw data as well. Yep, got a whole number there. Always good to go and check these things and make sure you're not going to accidentally lose data along the way. So there we go, replace that, bingo. All right, back to the original message I had. My notes table doesn't have any notes in it. Why? Well, we landed it to Excel and we added the notes in the Excel table. But notice that my history table does bring in those notes. So here's what I'm going to do with this. I'm now going to go back to my notes table. Okay, so the table that I originally created. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge this query to the history table that I just brought in. So here we go. Now here's the important part. This is absolutely critical. You must have a unique identifier in order to be able to match these things up so you don't accidentally duplicate data or miss any data or misalign your data. Now, as it happens, if you've got a row ID number, that's great. Just make sure it's not dynamically generated by a formula because those can change. But in this case, I don't actually need one. I can grab my item and my date column. And if you put these things together with a sort of implied delimiter there, these form a unique entry. If they didn't, I would go and grab one more. And if they still didn't, I might even go and grab one more component, right? Try and make sure you get down to a unique key. That's the secret here. As long as you can get that, we're good to go. So let me go and see if I can just uncheck those ones. There we go. Okay, so I had grabbed item, held down my control key, grabbed date. I'm going to grab item, hold down my control key, and grab date. The order doesn't have to be the same, but they've got to be selected so the data presents in the same order, okay? So if your item column was over here, we'd have a 1 and a 2 with the date on the left. All right. Let's say okay. We can go and expand our history now. I don't need any of these columns here except for the note. We'll say okay, and there we go. Our coding error is now aligned with the correct row inside here for February 28 inside the query. So now the notes query is going to take this output and load it back to the table. So if I go and say close and load, I'm going to close and load 2 because I did create a new query here called history and I want to make sure that stays as connection only. But now what we can see is this is going to refresh and everything's going to stay the same except that we got an additional column here. Why? Well, because there was already a formula column that we added at the end called note and it said, well, look, I'm creating a note from Power Query. So this one I'm going to shift to the right. Guess what? You can't have 2 columns with the same name, so we're just going to call this one note 2. Interestingly enough, if you go and look in the data model, the data model now has a note column. Brilliant. Didn't have that before. Let's go and delete this. Delete the table column. There we go. We check that it can still refresh. It's always a good thing. Trust but verify. All right. Now, let's see what happens here. Let's Control X, Control V, right click, refresh. And now, if all goes well, we can see that this time, this one actually bounced down along with the other record in this case. So we've now got our February 28 record. And we can see here that this corrects coding error from February. Brilliant. Okay. So I can now go and say, let's go add some more data. Control X, Control V, refresh. And there we go. So now we can look at this one here and say, are we missing an invoice? Something seems wrong with this one. It seems a little bit too low here. Let's go grab some more data. Paste that in here. Right click and refresh. And now our missing invoice shows up. Missing invoice found. And there we go. So our notes are now staying in the right place here. The other thing that's really cool about this now is, again, remember, this data here is just the easy way for me to go and actually build the notes. I put this into the data model. And the reason that I did that is because I obviously want to report on it using a pivot table. So let's go build one. Let me just move this along here a little bit. I'll get rid of my queries and connections pane and move a little bit to the right here. And I'm going to put a pivot table right over here in M4. We're going to go pivots and filters from data model, and we'll inject this right here. Now, on this pivot table, this time around, I'm going to show things by date first. So we'll put that on rows, and then we'll go and we'll put our item underneath that. So we're showing this way here. That looks a little bit better. And now I do want to go and inject a couple of measures here. Now, rather than go and write the DAX, I happen to have already written it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and inject some things from my Monkey Tools add-ins. So we'll inject from our BiblioMonkey here. We're going to grab a measure. And in this case here, I'm going to grab the amount measure, and we'll just go and store that. There we are. And we'll also go and grab another one from our BiblioMonkey measure. And this one is going to be my explanation measure. And there we go. So you can now see that we're, in this particular case here, I'm using a concatenatex function to go through and actually pick these things up and make sure that everything that looks correct in this particular case. Now, when we take a look at this now, though, we should probably go back and we can take a look at this last explanation in this particular case here, this 88% here. This looks like a missing invoice was posted from prior. There we go. So now that we've got this in place, let's go back, do data, refresh all, and make sure that this is actually showing up in the right place here. You can see that absolutely there's the cost of goods sold is showing up down the bottom of this thing here. And somehow I managed to pick up a June 30th record in some of the information that I've got as well. It wasn't really intended my data originally. So again, you know what? This is super cool, right? I can come back, I can delete this table rows. We're now going to shrink the data set. Refresh all. And what we should see is that all of these records are still in the right place. All of these records are still in the right place. Our pivot table is shortened up nicely. So whether the pivot table, our notes table, is expanding or contracting does not matter. All of our records are staying in exactly the right spot, just the way they should be. So the big secret for this whole thing here, make sure that first off, if you're going to be going to the data model, you land to the Excel worksheet and the data model. If you're just going to go into an Excel table, just the Excel table is fine. Make sure that you land your column, add your notes column to it, and then pull it back into Power Query with another query and merge it into your main data set. Clean up that last column of notes that gets duplicated there. Boom, you're good to go. From now on, you can go through, you can fill in your information in this particular place, hit refresh as many times as you want, and everything will be on the correct row, providing that you found a unique combination that you can use for the merge.